Hi, my name is Chuck Pine from Chuck's Southern Comforts Cafe here in Burbank, Illinois, and today we're going to be making a cream of poblano soup with shrimp and green beans. Alright, so for our cream of poblano soup, we're going to start out by roasting the poblanos. First thing we want to do is get that over you can either go over an open flame on your stove, you can throw it on in a deep fryer and fry it, and that works also. But the main thing you want to do is kind of loosen that skin on the outside. I've also made it with like chopping up the peppers and skipping the whole peeling, the roasting and that, but I like it. It's a little bit better of a product. You get a little bit more of a roasted flavor out of it. And over this big flame, it's going to roast pretty quick. See how it's getting all charred on there? That's what you want. You want it to kind of bubble up on there. Kind of turn it a little bit. You can do this right on your stove top at home too. Very easy. Alright, so once it's roasted, first thing you're gonna do is pull off your stem. Pull that off. I always rip it open down the middle. Lay it out in my hand like that, and then just pull your fingers. You're always better off wearing gloves because you're gonna end up with your fingers burning. Just that skin comes. See how that skin comes right off that. It's easier if you lay it out in your palm with the skin side up like that. It kind of just whatever loosens it up or something, and it just comes right off. And then I usually use a little water if I'm peeling a bunch of chilies. Our cream of poblano soup, to get started on this, once we've roasted our chilies, we're going to start with our pot, get it kind of pretty hot. We're going to dump in this case we'll do a pound of butter. Kind of break that up a little bit. Get it melt up a little bit. Then we're going to add our sliced onions. And if you wanted to start with without roasting your chilies, at this point you can just add your chopped up like chili poblano peppers. You can just add those right to this. The only thing with that is later on we're going to blend all this together. The only problem is you'll get a little more graininess because you'll have those skins in there. And they won't blend as good. So we're going to let these onions saute up a little bit. We're going to add some fresh chopped garlic. And we're going to kind of break up your onions, make sure they're all kind of moving around a little. And we're going to let those saute for probably 3-4 minutes just to kind of take let them saute and get tender. Alright, so now we've got our onions all sauteed up. They've kind of sweated out a little bit. We're going to take all this and add all the butter and everything right to our blender. Alright, so now we've got all our onions in our blender, and our butter and all the garlic. And we're going to add our poblano chilies to it. And we want to blend this up to a complete puree. Okay, so as you can see, it's like almost looks like a split piece soup, that consistency. Add that back to your pot. Scrape all that out of there. That's all your good flavors. Get everything out of there. And we're going to use this puree to make our roux. That's got our butter in it. So we're going to add some flour. And I'll have all this on the recipe on chuckscafe.com. If you're looking for a recipe, chuckscafe.com. You want to make sure your roux cooks a little bit. I'm going to do this on maybe like a medium flame, not too hot. Probably add a little more flour. The more flour you add, the more distance you're going to get out of it. You don't want it too thick, but you're going to be able to add more liquid to it if you add a little more flour. And you're going to let this cook maybe for about, I don't know, maybe a minute or two. Kind of let that flour kind of cook off. Okay. So now you can see it's a nice thick consistency. Kind of almost like a wet sand kind of consistency. Okay. So now we're ready to add our liquids. What I usually use is a little heavy cream, a little half and half. Sometimes I use milk. Depends on how rich you want it to be. You can just use milk. It just won't be as rich. It won't be as decadent as it would. It's just not as not as expensive and flavorful. So I use a little half and half. A little bit at first, just get it started. If you add it all at once, you might end up with lumps, but this is a good way to get where you don't end up with any lumps. Just kind of mix it in there a little at a time. Make sure you whisk it real good between additions. This way it stays smooth all the way through. So I've added a whole quart of half and half here. See how it's like nice and smooth at this point? There's not too many lumps. Any of the kind of lumps are just little pieces of poblano chili. Then we start adding some heavy cream. You can add more half and half. You can just add milk. What you're trying to do is get it up to the consistency that you want your soup. It's still quite thick. And once again, I'll have this recipe available at chuckscafe.com if you want to go on there. So it's chuckscafe.com. We'll have the complete recipe for you with exact numbers. Chicken base. Once again, if you're not familiar with chicken base, this is a chicken base paste, and it's pretty expensive stuff. It's almost all chicken, so it's basically chicken stock that's been cooked down into a paste. It's kind of like bouillon, but like a lot better than bouillon. Bouillon's probably is like the cheap sister to this one. If you look for, make sure you get the wet stuff, and make sure the first ingredient is chicken. So you're going to add a little bit of that to it. Takes about a minute or 30 seconds to dissolve. And once that gets in there and completely dissolves, you're going to want to give this a quick taste and make sure you got enough flavor. If it needs a little more flavor, you're going to add a little more chicken base to it. A lot of times people quit too early when they're adding their salt and chicken base. If it doesn't have enough flavor, it just doesn't bring out all the spices of the poblanos, and we're going to add some shrimp to this, and the shrimp won't have any flavor if it doesn't have enough salt, or in this case we use the chicken base. We actually use the chicken base as our salt, because there's a little bit of salt in there. So now we're going to give that a quick taste. And it's pretty good. I think we're good to go. At this point, it's still kind of a little bit thick. We're just going to add a little more half and half. Then we're going to add our shrimp, and we're going to add some raw green beans chopped up. So that's our green beans. Those go in. And then we're going to add some raw shrimp to this. Kind of mix all those in there. This is one of our most famous soups at Chuck's. We go through, when we make this, we'll make 15-20 gallons, and it's gone in like a day and a half. We sell 75,000 bowls of soup at Chuck's. 75,000 bowls of soup a year at Chuck's. Now we're going to take this and put our lid on and let that simmer till the shrimp are cooked, and then that's ready. All right, so once that's kind of simmered for a while, your shrimp are going to be completely cooked. At this point, you can add a little black pepper to it. That's kind of to taste. You should always, right at the end, give it one last little taste. Make sure it's perfectly flavored for you. Make sure you have enough salt, enough pepper. Do that one last little taste. And that's right on the money. So we're good to go. And that is your Cream of Poblano Soup. Enjoy.